بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. بهذه المحاضرة راح نتكلم عن research, how to conduct a research. These notes will help you in a little bit of help in understanding how we do a research. So we will begin by define the research. Research is the systematic collection, analysis, and interpretation of data to answer a certain question or solve a problem. The most important thing about it is systematic collection. Then we analyze it, we discuss it, we come with solutions, with recommendations, and so on. So it will demand a clear statement of the problem, a clear objectives, a clear plan. It builds on existing data using both positive and negative findings, but new data should be systematically collected, analyzed to answer the original research objective. What are the steps? First of all, we have to prioritize and select a research topic. What is the interest? What are we interested in? What we know about anything, and we think this is really good to make or do a research about. Then we review the literature about this problem and we develop a research proposal. For example, we want to do this, and we implement a study. We begin with, after we define all things that we need to know, we collect data, process the data, interpret the data, the results, write the final report or present the results, and so on. Starting point. Before starting the process of data collection, researchers should identify exactly what needs to be achieved. So writing a problem statement is a good start. What is the practical or scientific issue that should be addressed, and why does it matter? Next, formulate one or more research questions that precisely define what to find out. Anything that interests us. Depending on research question, the researcher might need to collect quantitative or qualitative data. Quantitative data expressed in numbers and graphs and is analyzed through statistical methods as we know it. But qualitative data, which is different, is expressed in words and analyzed through interpretation and categorization. If the aim of the researcher to test hypotheses measures, the researcher should measure something precisely or gain large-scale statistical insights, the data collected should be quantitative. But if the aim is to explore ideas, understand experiences, or gain detailed insights into a specific context, the data should be qualitative. So if there is several aims, mixed method can be used. We begin with priority of selecting research topic. Criteria of selecting a research topic: relevance. The topic you choose should be a priority problem. It means that try to do things or do problems or topic that is really good. Questions to be asked include how large or widespread is the problem, who is affected, how severe is the problem. Many questions should be asked before orienting in any topic. Avoidance of duplication. Before you decide to carry out study, it is important that you find out whether the suggested topic has been investigated before, either within the proposed study area or in another area with similar conditions. If the topic has been researched, the results should be reviewed to explore whether major questions that deserve further investigation remain unanswered. If not, another topic should be chosen. Then we go to literature review. Why is it important to review already available information when preparing for research. It prevents from duplicating work that has been done. It helps find out what others have learned, reported about the problem. This may assist in refining the statement of the problem. Also, it helps to become more familiar with the various research methods, and it will provide a convincing argument for why your particular research project is needed. So, we go to develop a research proposal, for example. We will do this. We need a title, introduction section, objectives, hypothesis. Then we go to the methodology. The introduction will include the background statement of the research problem, justification, objectives, and if there is a hypothesis. All this is in the introduction. Then we go to the methodology, work plan, and utilization, dissemination of research results, references, or annexes. The title. A good title should be short, accurate, and concise. It should make the central objectives of the study clear to the reader, and it should be related to the content, or the content of the research should be reflected in the title. It is important to specify what population will be investigated and where it will be conducted. Introduction, background information, statement of research problem. You will be talking to a reader. So this section should convince the reader of the relevance of the study, the magnitude, the severity of the problem. It should provide enough background data for an outsider to understand the different aspects of the problem or the different factors influencing the problem, and so on. So when you review the literature, you will reflect your review of the literature in the background. Available literature reports should further illustrate why the problem is important, not only in your own working area, but also probably also beyond. The objectives. Why should research objectives be developed? These are the goals to be achieved. The formulation of objectives will help to focus the study, avoid collection data which are not strictly necessary, organize the study in clearly defined parts or phrases that will help orient the collection, analysis, interpretation of data. Research hypothesis also, this hypothesis can be defined as a prediction or explanation of the relationship between one or more independent variables, predisposing risk factors, and one dependent variable, the outcome, condition, disease. This is what we know as a dependent. A hypothesis, in other words, translates the problem into a statement into a precise, clear prediction of expected outcomes. It must be emphasized that hypotheses are not meant to be haphazard guesses, but should reflect the depth of knowledge, imagination, experience of the investigator. So the process of formulating this hypothesis, all variables relevant to the study should be identified. So mainly we are talking about two variables. One is the outcome, one is the predictor, but you might use more than one predictor to predict this outcome. The methodology summarizes the most important points. Variables should be defined. For types of variables that are important, research independent, dependent. Also, we have confounding and background variables, numerical, categorical and so on. Work plan اللي هو the various tasks to be performed, when and who will perform the task. This is many styles, but mostly we use the Vancouver style, which is numerical. Okay, the final report should include the title, cover page, abstract, introduction, objectives, methodology, research results, discussion, conclusion, recommendation, references, and annexes. Title, research title, names of the author with their titles. Abstract. The abstract summary should be written only after the final draft or the report has been completed, and it should contain a very brief description of the problem, main objectives, place of the study, type of the study, major findings, major recommendations. The introduction also, as we explained earlier, research objectives, for example, the objective of this research is to investigate such and such, is to estimate the prevalence, the objective is to explore association, and so on. Methodology. The methodology followed the collection of data. For collection data of your data should be described in details. Study type, major study variables, population, sample, data collection, procedures, measurements, and so on. All should be detailed. Data collection, processing, analysis, interpretation. What is data collection? It's a process of gathering and measuring information, سواء كانت observations or measurements on variables of interest in an established systematic fashion that enables one to answer queries. Also allows gaining first-hand knowledge, original insights, may differ between fields. The overall process of data collection remains largely the same. Of course, before beginning data collection, we should know the aim of the research, the type of the data, the method and procedures, and so on. Data processing analysis, series of operations performed on data to transfer, analyze, and organize it into a useful format. Various stages. The goal is to extract information that can be applied in decision-making processes or support existing technologies. So first of all, data collection, first stage, involve gathering and discovering raw data from various sources such as sensors, databases, surveys, essential to ensure the collected data is accurate, complete, and relevant to the analysis or processing goals. Also, avoid selection bias, where the method of collecting data inadvertently favors certain outcomes or groups, skewing results, leading to inaccurate, this is the bias. Conclusion. Data preparation. Once the data is collected, the raw data is cleaned up, organized, enriched for further processing, checking for errors, removing any bad data, redundant, incomplete, incorrect, enhanced data with additional relevant information. High quality, reliable, and comprehensive data should be available. Input, the clean, prepped data fed into a processing system, for example, the SPSS, or an algorithm designed for specific data types or analysis. This is how we do it. We enter the data into the software. Processing, The input data is transformed, analyzed, and organized to produce relevant information, filtering, sorting, aggregating, classification, and so on. The output will interpretation, presenting the processed data in an easily digestible format, involve generating reports, graphs, visualizations, simplify complex data, and help with decision making. And finally, we can store the data anywhere we want. So when we talk about research results, findings in relation to the research object is the crucial part of the report. So we have to describe these findings, so I can in text or in tables. We will have also to discuss these results, be discussed by objective or by cluster of related variables. يعني بالأخير الدiscussion والfindings لازم يركز على الobjective of the study. The discussion may include findings from other related studies that support or contradict your own. It is important to present and discuss the limitations of the study. A general conclusion may be included as well. The conclusions should follow logically from the discussion of the findings. Also, the conclusions should logically follow the same order as the discussion followed the findings. Recommendations, it might go to policy makers, health and health-related managers, health and health-related staff, potential clients, community at large. References, we prefer the Vancouver style. Some would prefer the American style, writing style, or the other styles. No problem, but you have to stick with one style of writing the references, سواء في التكست or in the reference list. أيضا الملحقات appendices should contain any additional information needed. بهذا نختم هذه المحاضرة. يعطيكم العافية.